little bit as well about some of the things that I currently do with Ripple and Ubri, kind of what Ubri is. And then I want to also talk specifically about Kubi, and as you guys go into the future, things that I hope we will continue to keep doing really, really well to capitalize on all of the strengths that Kubi already has. And just to warn you, 100%, I am going to be that alumni who immediately comes back and talks constantly about back in my day, back in my day. So back in my day, this is what I was up to when I was very, very recently in your seats. So as John B said, I studied computing and art here at KU. I am from Topeka, Kansas. Topeka, shout out Topeka. Yeah, my dad is from Topeka. Yeah, someone else. Okay, awesome. And then the Kansas Blockchain Fellowship, as well as Kubi, worked on both of these projects. I'm like, what else is on here? Anyways, I'm going to talk about all of these. So that's just to give you like a little bit of a background. But to start with where I was a few years ago. So I was like studying computer science, and I was kind of like, I don't know about all this. Like the coding, I was like, okay, that's fun. But I don't know, it just didn't quite feel right. A lot of the opportunities in the industry were the right path for me. And so I was at kind of a point of searching for something that maybe made more sense for me. And it's at that time that I met Dr. Perry Alexander. I think many of you know Dr. Perry. He's amazing. He kind of prompted me, like, hey, there's this project that we have going on. It combines computing and art, and it seems like it's kind of up your alley. I was like, okay, I don't know anything about blockchain, but I can code and I like art, so this seems cool. So this was a Spencer Museum collaboration, which is actually still ongoing. Wolfgang has been involved in this, as well as several other students. So they have made incredible continuations to the work that has been done. But this is just a shout out as well that this project got from Brad. I just thought that this was cool. So I put that tweet up here. And then this is a picture of the actual art museum. And so that was like, I kind of stumbled into blockchain. I was like, I don't really know what this is. But the more I learned about it, I was like, oh, secure, transparent, decentralized, allows people to own more of their own assets, own their own identity, have greater autonomy in how they interact with technology. I was like, wait, this is actually really cool. So I randomly went to a KU blockchain meeting, and probably like many of you guys, I went to one, and then I was like, accidentally committed myself to way more than I had ever intended to. So actually one of the first meetings I went to was elections, and I was like, okay, I'll be like director of marketing, like, I don't know, I feel like I could do that. And then ended up kind of growing with this team that was actually all completely new. So for many of your projects, this is probably your first time working on a new technology, working with a new team of people, with kind of certain goals that were maybe like you're having to figure it out yourself, right? That's not easy. So I was also in those shoes. Fortunately, I did have an amazing team. Tage just left. He just made an Irish exit, which is unfortunate because here's a picture of him. This was us at ETH Denver. This was within kind of the first year that we started. These Legos, you guys still use these Legos?
I have them in my room, actually.
Guys, oh, you have it in your room?
Yeah. Yeah, they're in like the Kubi bag.
Talk later, actually, because I kind of want those back. But the Kubi Legos, that was a huge marketing tactic because people were like, didn't know anything about blockchain. They'd come up to the table and they'd be like, oh my god, Legos? And we'd be like, right? No, this is not Legos, sorry. But we were able to manage to get some members, kind of the club continued to grow. Wasn't easy, but definitely a lot of growth that year. And then as that continued, this was summer 2024 that we had the first Kansas Blockchain Fellowship. And this happened because as the club was beginning, part of the reason why we're now seeing that you guys are like so strong in computer science is because there was maybe in the beginning not a lot of that going on. Like a lot of grand ideas, which were amazing, right? It's like, oh, we want to host a major conference. Like that's awesome. The very early team did do that. I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But the problem is like you also have to build, right? Like you have to have something to show for the work you're doing. So what we were very, very motivated to do was see how to make sure that every single member in the club was building something. Because most importantly, like you guys, as John P. said, like, you guys need something to talk about in interviews, right? Like, you need something to also get the hands-on experience to know how to build on chain, what that even means, and also like deeply understand like what's the point of building something on a blockchain versus just not, basically. So that was the whole motivation behind that. Let's see, Caleb was in that cohort, Wolfgang was in that cohort, and now look at them, they're like CEOs of Kansas Blockchain. So amazing to see the growth there. And as that has happened for them, I don't know who it's gonna be yet, but that's gonna happen for you guys too, as you grow the club from 40 to 1 million members all across Kansas. I don't know what you're gonna do, but it's gonna be great things as we're seeing the momentum. So now, I don't have a slide on this, but basically after that, after the Kansas Blockchain Fellowship, I ended up interning at Ripple on the developer advocate team, and ran kind of a similar program there called the Student Builder Residency. I'll talk about that in a second. Then I joined full-time in March, and so now I'm going to tell you a little more about Ubri, what that is. I guess before I do that, I want to kind of emphasize, like, maybe if there's any one piece of wisdom that I can give you all, just like continue to lean into the things you're curious about and interested in. Even if it's kind of like, I have no idea where this is going to take me. Like, that was totally me with blockchain. I was like, okay, what about, like, blockchain? Sure, art, sure. And it was like, every time that I had some project where I ended up combining the things that I was most passionate about, that was like the thing that opened a door for me. And I see, like, you know, this is obviously a lot of doors are gonna open for you guys, not just because of this project and the things you're building here, but in the future. And as you're figuring out like what path to follow, think about what makes me most curious, what makes me most interested, and I think you're gonna find your best path by following that. So enough about me. KU, University Blockchain Research Initiative. So Ripple, just a little bit of background, because there was an XRP bounty, just to give context here. So Ripple, if you're not familiar, is essentially a company that uses blockchain and crypto to build things for financial institutions like banks. And so Ripple has a product suite that includes payments, custody, stablecoin. That suite is evolving with recent acquisitions. But then in addition to that, there's a team at Ripple which is fully dedicated to continuing open source development of the XRP ledger. And actually, if you're interested in that, you should talk to Caleb after, because he has a bit of background with much of the tooling work and actual open source work that's done there. The reason for that is that all of Ripple's products are built on the XRP ledger. So many of the docs that you're using, like, those are also things that were used internally at Ripple as well. So that's a little bit of an overview of Ripple. And then Ubri, like, what is Ubri? Where does that fit in? So Ripple also has a team called Ripple Impact, which I am on. This is the philanthropic part, and there's kind of the standard things where money gets given to all of these valuable causes across the world, kind of in general, but then there's a specific division just for universities. And so that funding specifically goes towards research, education, and opportunities for researchers, for students, essentially helping grow the state of blockchain research and education. And you probably can see, like, at many universities, I mean, there are even blockchain majors at universities now. Like, that was not the case in 2018 when Ubri started. So it was really important at the time, and it's still important now in different ways. And so just to give you a bit of an overview, of course, University of Kansas is one of these 60 universities, but there are many others all around the world. Focuses being research development, and then also education. On the research front, if this is something you're interested in, and you want to see kind of what some of those more recent cutting-edge developments were that came out of Ubri this year, there are about 130 white papers that came out this year alone out of the universities in the Ubri network. All of these related in some way or another to blockchain, many of them related to XRP, but not necessarily. So you can actually scan this if you want to see what the 2025 research report was. This is also live on the Ubri website. I'll give you like 4 seconds. Guys, you gotta be quick. There's gonna be more QR codes coming, so actually, like, we have to keep this going. Sorry, it's kind of small. If you can't get it, I'll give it to you Here's another one, like rapid fire with QR codes. This is specifically for research that is like not just in the past year. That highlight report is the highlights of 2025, but this is research from all time, of all of UBRI, all of the things that have been tracked that have come out of it. It's a full search tool. So if there's something you're interested in, like stablecoins, like I want to learn more about stablecoins, and specifically peer-reviewed academic papers written about it, then you can check those out here. This is not comprehensive of all the research in the world, but it's kind of a lot. So you'll be busy with that. Now, another thing that UBRI does is the XRPL Student Builder Residency. This program started fall of 2024, that fall after KBF. This was essentially like, kind of like how do we bring all of the ways that KBF was effective to Ripple specifically, and then to like the building on the XRPL. So Nishay was in this first cohort, very experimental. Nishay can attest to that. Built an awesome project related to kind of climate, which was amazing. You guys should talk to him about it if you haven't heard about it. This program is still running. Caleb and Charlie were in our most recent cohort. Some of our mentors online, I think Stan is maybe online. Stan was an amazing part of this program, as was Alex, who may also be online. Hey guys, if you're online, shout out. Great work in the program. This year, it's expanding from 4 weeks to 6 weeks. It's, I wasn't gonna say where it's gonna be. Last year was in New York City. Okay, I'll tell you guys. It's gonna be in London this year. So at the end, to demo the projects, we bring people out to London, and then they share them with the London office. So hopefully you guys, if you're interested, if you're not sure what you're up to next summer, this would be a great thing to apply to. Happy to share more as well. A couple of other opportunities. So I mentioned the builder residency. There's actually a hackathon going on right now, an online hackathon. If you guys are just like, you can't get enough of like winning money and building XRP projects, like here's another opportunity. Started this morning at like 6 a.m. And it's gonna be going until next week. So it's not too late to register if you feel like doing an online hackathon. There also will be UBRI Connect, which is our annual research conference. It's actually combining with Swell and with Apex, which are our other conferences. We're gonna have like one major conference next year. That's happening in the fall. Would love to have KB represented there. Additionally, there is a new program which is spinning out. You guys are seriously the first to hear about a lot of this, actually. The UBRI Digital Asset Accelerator. So after, in some ways, like KBF kind of became, an evolution of that was a student builder residency. An evolution of that is this digital asset accelerator, which is happening, which is not targeted only for students. It's for startups all over the world. And so our first cohort was run with UC Berkeley, on campus at Berkeley. We flew teams out to Berkeley/SF 2 times for the launch and for the demo. These are for the most promising projects that either come out of the hackathons that we run or are flourishing in the ecosystem that we can help support to continue to grow. We don't take any equity. All the IP remains yours. It's also a bit new, and so all of the teams that are part of it are helping us shape it. But this will also be going global next year. And then internships at Ripple. I loved being an intern at Ripple. Cannot say enough amazing things. The roles are not live yet, but they will go live December 15th, and they will be on the Ripple careers page. And also, I know you guys pay a lot of attention to the Kubi Discord. Keep paying attention to that because the roles will definitely be in there as soon as they are live. So, awesome. I want to say just like a quick word about kind of where things stand. And I have Ripple up here, but really this goes like much broader for the industry. I just want to give this as a kind of an example. Ripple this year was able to acquire 4 different companies. I have the logos up here. And ultimately, like, this is kind of a little bit of a word about the state of crypto in general. Like, this is a really good time to be getting into this industry, to be somebody with skills in crypto and blockchain, especially to be someone with the skills both on the technical side and on the finance business side. Like, that's amazing. You guys are absolutely on an amazing path here. I think, like, there's been a lot of momentum in the industry, and that's definitely true with Ripple. as illustrated here, and with XRP in general, with many of the new amendments that are going live. But additionally, like more broadly in the ecosystem, there have been really, I think, like really amazing momentum as well in kind of the public good space, in the EVM ecosystem, and I think of the many things that I could say about the current political landscape in the US. The one very optimistic thing I could say is I think like this is a really good time for innovation with crypto, and it's the sky is fairly clear on that front, and I think we're going to continue seeing a lot of different IPOs. We've seen Kraken, Gemini, among many others this year, and that's pretty unique for crypto. So all that to say, this is a good time for crypto, this is a good time for Ripple, and this is a good time for Kubi. So Kubi, John, we covered a lot of the history. I don't think there's too much else I can add there. It was started by several business kids like in this building, and they were super interested in blockchain, and that was like 2018, which was like fairly early. They were like, everyone was kind of like, you guys are nuts. And now like everyone in this room is nuts, right? Like it's kind of still the case. But seeing an amazing evolution. And I think the things I would want to focus on here are especially the strengths that Kubi has had, continues to have, and as the new generation of Kubi that I'm so excited to see you guys carry forward. So if you weren't listening at all for anything I said, that's okay. But this part might be kind of good, so maybe listen to this part. The first thing I want to say is that Kubi, as John B said, genuinely does have a reputation for being a center of innovation. And that is true on Kane's campus, but that's also true other places. Like, you can say Kansas Blockchain, and like there is kind of a brand to that, which is actually like pretty amazing when you think about, like, you know, everyone knows like blockchain at Berkeley, or I don't know, Cornell blockchain, right? But like for, I mean, a public institution, like that's pretty amazing to have that kind of brand recognition. And there are reasons for that. Like, again, this club being very builder focused, what you all are doing now, I mean, there are many amazing clubs on campus, blah, blah, blah. But when you think about like what other clubs are having capstone projects where there's this many successful capstone projects in a semester that actually are really high quality, like that's pretty unique at KU. And so I think even, you know, people at KU who might not be familiar with blockchain, might not be interested, like there is kind of a bit of a, I think, earned prestige there that I think is something to absolutely continue to prioritize as you guys go forward. Like, now that you've built these projects, also you can teach others. And that's, I think, a really amazing position to be in. So keep building, keep finishing projects. Secondly, the DAO. And I'm gonna talk a little more about that in a second. But the DAO is like one of the #1 things that sets Kubi apart when you think about where Kubi fits in with all of these other university blockchain clubs, even at much more competitive universities. And the third thing, and really like the most important thing, is this being an inclusive educational environment. Blockchain is like really, it's a high barrier of entry. Like, I'll be honest, guys, I was like well into the presidency before I was like, oh wait, now like blockchain clicks. Like that moment, I thought it clicked, and then it was like later I was like, oh okay, like actually everything just fell into place for me. Like it takes a while. It takes a lot of exposure. It's kind of Dunning-Kruger too. So like if you think you have it all figured out, like there's lots more to learn. Always. But it's hard to learn. That's the point. Is it's hard to learn, and I think this being a space where everyone who walks in the door feels welcome to learn, feels invited, and that you guys are excited that they're here, feels like you guys are wanting to continue to guide them and shepherd them as they continue to learn, like that goes so far, and that is genuinely something that sets Kubi apart. So the DAO, this is like the last thing I want to say. Are you all on the DAO? Like maybe just like show of hands. I'm just curious. I know that C height is. Do you say Chuck?
C
Okay. C height is #1. So shout out C height. Shout out Wolfie Cell as well for being #3. You guys have to surpass Micah. Like that's, I know it's like impossible. Like you have to. This is like genuinely such a unique tool, and the number one reason for that is like, I'm sure you all know the history of the DAO. It was developed from scratch here within Kubi in a project kind of similar to yours. But when you guys go into an interview or you are writing on your resume, you're trying to quantify like, what was it I did for Kubi again? Like you literally, if you are staying on top of your tasks in the DAO and continuing to get credit for the things that you're doing, which takes a little initiative. But if you're doing that, you can literally quantify exactly how many hours you contributed to Kubi, exactly what the difficulty of those tasks were, and then also exactly where you fit in terms of like, oh, I was in the top 1% of contributors, for example, to the project or to the club. And that's actually like super, super unique. I will tell you that the person who built this, he was a former exec, and he has now built like an AI DAO deployer, which he's been kind of in talks with piloting at other universities, and like the number of universities who are like, oh my god, like this would be amazing for us to use. It's not quite there for them yet. Like KU is like the only place where that is currently happening and well built out and established, and it's completely open source. It's like the joke of like the DAO can continue building itself. Like please take that seriously, because this is like absolutely the future of the club and one of its greatest strengths. So that is all that you guys have to hear from me. The more important part is hearing from you. So thank you for letting me say a few words. It was genuinely an honor. I think the most important things I would love for you to take away are, please keep building. Take this seriously. Like the things that you're curious about and that you're interested about that brought you here, like those are the things that are going to carry you forward into the most important next doors that you're going to walk into. So keep building, take it seriously, be nice to new people and help them learn about blockchain, and keep learning. And now let's hear some presentations.
Thank you so much. I just want to sort of reiterate what she said. I want you guys to think about like, why are you here, right? Like, yeah, like maybe you did this capstone because of maybe monetary value, maybe because of the prizes, maybe because of that, but like that is definitely not the only reason that you are here. Your subconscious chose you to stay and chose you to work on this and chose you to do all that you've done so far for this. So like, why are you doing that? And really focus and hone in on that and use that for your other things as well going on in life. And then that's sort of all I had. Another fun fact is Emma and I kind of started off the same way, low-key, with joining Kubi. One of my first meetings as well was elections, and she was like, you should be director of marketing. And I was like, oh, I'm not visually artistic or anything like her, but I was like, okay, sure, I guess. But low-key, all of us, the reason we are even on exec is because of Emma. She is literally a Kubi legend, Kubi everything. So thank you, Emma, for all that you've done for Kubi, bringing this from the ground up and making it what it is today. So, amazing. On to the capstones, on to the best part, seeing what you guys have done so far. So a little bit of background on what this capstone and like what they all did. They had 10 weeks to do this. So what their first five weeks were just learning anything from Web3 to DeFi to security in blockchain, applications in blockchain. And then their next 5 weeks was forming these groups, capstone work days, and just making it all through. And what we asked of them was pretty simple, honestly. We just had 3 things. Creativity, make something that is super creative and something that you would be interested in as well. Blockchain integration, of course, like duh. This is a blockchain club. And then do a market analysis as well, just to see what the market is of the product that you're creating and maybe how your product can be of use in this in the future as well. We've had 5 amazing capstone projects and super cool logos as well. Look at these logos. Terra Nova, you guys, like, that's super cute. But anyways, on to the showcase. I think our first group is going to be Eden, so if you guys want to come up and start your presentation. Get excited, guys.
Hello everybody, this is our project Eden. My name is Julian Bollard.
My name is Steve.
My name is Shariva.
And my name is Jen.
So our goal with our capstone project this semester was a system that can provide a global credit system. The reason why we chose this is because we saw a market gap where there was no real system that was on-chain that was able to do this. And then another key factor that we saw a gap of is there's no worldwide credit system that can be used to translate. Like let's say somebody wants to come from Germany to the United States, they can't transfer their current credit system in Germany into the United States FICO score. The customers would be anybody globally in the United States wanting a more transparent view of their credit score. Through our system, not only does it account for traditional means of calculating credit score, but also any on-chain activity as well. And then for the financials, is basically we just see the spike in anything on-chain finance, and so we just want to capitalize on that growth. And then lastly, the costs. It would just be cheaper than traditional systems just because we're using that on-chain technology, especially through the XRPL.
Alright, so here's a solution. Obviously, this is only for the traditional credit scoring. So we have a unique decentralized protocol system. What makes this different is that we are more dynamic, we have more transparency. So current systems and the current competitors don't really have a way to explain why a score is what it is. So we have the transparency features to actually tell you what's going wrong. Another thing is our target audience. Right now it's DeFi participants essentially. As you want to bridge the real world data to DeFi, the DeFi system. We also have people without access to credit scores. So I think there's about 1.7 billion people who are in underbanked regions. That just means that people who are not accessible to banks or just not secure banks. This is essentially for them. We also have cost savings. So right now the collateral plan is maybe 150 to 200 times the collateral. That's a lot of money. Obviously we want to limit it down. We want to base it through the actual credit score, not the credit score, but the financial health of the person. Suppose if he's doing well in his life, he's productive, he's doing good in his financial economy, we want to give them more credit, more ways to get less money. Next is the easy to use. So obviously our UI is very simple. It has to be easy to understand because it's most of the people around the world, they don't really have a lot of information about tech. We also use XRP. So we store verifiable credentials into our XRP ledger. This is cool because what Julian talked about, we're transferring the credit score of someone from Germany to US. This works in a way that the US lender is not going to know all the banks in the world. The only information you'll have is the regulators. So every country having one or two regulators, those regulators know different banks in the world. So it acts as a two-step way of having verifiable credentials. So essentially the lender asking the regulator if this local bank is true and you can actually verify it. That goes back to the lender and the lender approves the payment transactions.
I'm gonna go over it.
Okay. All right. So now I'm going to talk about a quick overview of Eden and what really makes it different. So Eden is unique in the sense that it's the only on-chain credit protocol that merges wallet, analytics, real-world data, and dynamic risk scoring into a decentralized single layer. And it's also the first to market with it being the first system offering a transparent user-controlled risk score that updates in real time and can be used across multiple DeFi and Web3 lending platforms. And lastly, it's also been tested by both finance students as well as blockchain students. So it actually, to make sure that it actually has some usability and some other key aspects to it.
So now I'll cover our business model. So at our foundation, our system is focusing on a global demand for decentralized identity and credit infrastructure. Traditional credit systems lack transparency and aren't able to translate across borders. So our system capitalizes on this gap by providing portability and openness. And on the revenue side, we have two main components. First is protocol licensing. This means that DeFi platforms and fintech partners can access our scoring engine through an API. And this basically means that they can access better risk insights that can help them make safer lending decisions. Additionally, we have built-in user incentives. So borrowers who maintain strong credit behavior have access to better loan terms, and these incentives keep users engaged and help our network grow over time.
For our market overview, he had mentioned that there's a large population of people who don't necessarily have access to all these financial services because of the underbanking. So we would hope that through our program, people just would have more access to it. As well as, more than ever, DeFi is on the rise, so it would appeal to people who are familiar with on-chain technology and just all the benefits that come with it. For growth, we would just try to push for, again, new risk models, so lenders can look at borrowers and more accurately assess them. And then for market size, again, it's just, there's a bigger population than ever of people on DeFi, and so that's what it would be appealing to.
Alright, so now let's look at market comparison. So we actually have a $150 billion opportunity to build an addressable market with DeFi lending and decentralized identity. And then we also have a $20 billion market free space for freedom to invent, as well as our competitors are low, as in they have a $150 million market. So that's our quick market comparison.
Alright, so your current competitors, you obviously have Rocky 5. It uses on-chain wallet history to create a credit score and under collateralized loans. The problem with this is that it uses a machine learning model. It's not fully transparent. It doesn't give you a reason to wire scores. As I said, transparency is a big key in our website. Second one is Spectral Finance. It builds an on-chain macro score using wallet history and a different liquidation history. It has strong analytics, but it only reflects the blockchain behavior, so there's no real-world credibility to have it for Spectral Finance. Next is Credit Protocol. It provides credit scores mainly for DeFi businesses to assess loan risk. We just don't want this for business, we want this overall for any user in the world. Also, there's minimal focus on user experience and transparency. As we said, it's a key feature. Cred DA, this one's actually pretty cool. This almost mimics what we're doing. It has issues hybrid data, credit NFTs that allow better DeFi rates. But the only issue here is that scores are static, and there's a limit on partner integrations, so it's not accessible to the whole world. And obviously it's static, so it doesn't update over time. It needs a lot of time to process.
So our growth strategy follows 3 phases. The first stage is foundations. This is where we deploy our system and form partnerships, specifically with banks and other financial institutions that want to implement more transparent identity and credit tools. The second phase is scaling. Once we've implemented our system, we want to focus on expanding our API licensing and implementing more advanced user reward features. This will help us grow both the partner and borrowers side of the ecosystem, while also reinforcing responsible financial behavior. Finally, phase 3 is becoming a standard. At this point, our goal is to position ourselves as the go-to system for both DeFi and traditional finance. Essentially, we want to become a common user-friendly standard for lending across different financial environments. Thank you.
Great job, guys. Next we have Terra Nova. Coming up.
Hello everyone. Hello everyone. Hello everyone, and thank you for being here. Today we're excited to introduce Terra Nova, a platform designed to transform the way real-world assets are leased, traded, and accessed on-chain. The project was created by myself, Abhinav Velarindula,
OG Jackson, Henry Watkins.
and unfortunately, two of our people are not here, but they also contributed, Matthew Davis and Snail Thomas. So here's what we'll be covering today. Well, the definition of real assets, what they are, the problems that come with traditional asset trading, our solution, a walkthrough of our website, key features, and future implementation. Let's start with the foundation. What are real-world assets? Real-world assets are physical or traditional financial assets like real estate, treasury bills, commodities, and such that are tokenized on the blockchain. This matters. This matters because it can unlock liquidity. It can enable global and fractional access. It increases transparency. It can automate processes, which can lower costs, and it can create new yield opportunities. Some of the problems that come with traditional trading of real assets are low accessibility, illiquidity, slow execution, the lack of fractional ownership, and expensive intermediaries. And these barriers prevent both companies and investors from maximizing value, and we're designed to remove those barriers. Our solution enables companies to lease their real-world assets to a public market through fractionalized trading pools. Companies tokenize their asset, they can place it into a pool, and users can trade or invest in it. Companies can earn fees from trading activity, and users gain transparent access to real assets. Our website is built on 3 principles: disrupting traditional leasing with automated smart contracts, providing real economic utility instead of speculation, which can drive sustainable long-term growth, and it can be permissionless for users and compliant for companies, capturing both sides of the market. Some features of our website is the XRPL logic. This we can calculate automated profit and loss when a trade closes. We can create tokens and pools, and we can trade settlements. Another feature is the company onboarding and verification. When companies can join Terra Nova, they can verify their identity, connect their wallet, and mint a tokenized version of their asset. We can automatically assign metadata, symbols, and prepare it for listing on-chain. Another feature is the asset leasing mechanism. Companies can lease their asset by placing their tokens into a trade pool. Users can then trade those tokens in the pool instead of purchasing the asset outright. And then every trade generates fees for the company, which can turn the liquid assets into continuous revenue streams. Some additional features are, we have an educational portion of it, where beginners can get more acclimated into investing by completing lessons, which can help them gain XP. And then our trading dashboard allows users to just browse asset pools, trade, and monitor market activity with ease.
Hello. The benefits of Terra Nova is that our investors can access capital and execute trades and lease assets on trade without delays, because we know that the crypto atmosphere is 24/7. We don't need like a set date or set times, just like the stock market has. We have fee-based revenues, ensures stability and predict income while aligning our success with our users' engineering growth. The flexibility, asset management, through freezing assets can be locked to secure positions without fully exiting their holdings, and more control. The companies can direct, manage, supply and also fee and pool rules for their given asset. So now I want to talk about the top 5 real world market asset issuers. We have BlackRock and Apollo at 28%. They are in real estate. 16%, they are private creditors that specialize, I believe, in commodities. I know finance, they are a technology-based, they do one-on-one gold, I believe, trading. Superstate is also a commodity based asset, and also PAX is also gold, just gold state asset. And I kind of wanted to mention these top companies because these are the top 5 companies within our market state, and our market is a $35 billion kind of industry, and for all of these, they don't do the same thing that we kind of do. We do gold, we do oil, and we're also going to be able to expand to many other ventures. But this is like a $35 billion kind of market cap, and we have 31%. That's just the other category. That's about 13.6 billion, I believe. But there's still a lot of money to be involved in for our company, and this isn't some small niche type of thing. This is something that is continuously growing, continuously having more exposure, and companies are starting to realize that this is a potential market that they want to start investing in. And the future implementations, like I talked about earlier, we have expanding asset support, more EFT and indexes. We have the real estate price index, luxury and consumer assets, and another thing like I talked about earlier when it came to expanding, we would want to also do intellectual property. So not only something physical like gold, oil, maybe like a house, kind of like something that's more intellectual, like royalties, music, or maybe like a patent, like someone's invention. Like that is something that we will look forward to. And also, as we grow bigger, we'll be able to do leverage trading 2 to 3 times that. Our government's token airdrop. So basically, what we want to do is on release, we'll give out a bunch of points, and these points can be tokenized, and it basically these tokens kind of create new assets, fees, platform settings, treasury usage. So with these points that you get, you can kind of vote towards the things that you want. And this is just to encourage okay, we want people to come in the door. We want people to kind of be involved in our community. We kind of want them to stay using our. We kind of want them to stay using Terran. So, yeah. And I'd like to answer any questions if you have any. Thank you. For the rest of your day.
Okay, next we have Meta Wallet.
Howdy.
Hello everyone, our capstone project is Meta Wallet, which is all about owning your own medical records. My name is Samuel, and apparently Eric is the only one shown here, but that's Eric, this is Arpa, and unfortunately Daryl was unable to join us today. And also our pictures are not but okay. Meta Wallet is
Look at that really quick.
Meta Wallet is a secure, user-controlled medical records wallet built on an XRP ledger, and it basically lets patients manage, store, and share their healthcare records on chain, which basically means that they have trackable ownership and also portable access across different providers. And this is kind of just like our preview of the app, and like on the pages you can see the different screens based on like doctor or patient, and then it would take you to the different pages of our app. Okay.
For our tech stack, we use React and XRPL. Oh, yes. And that's basically it. And then Eric's going to talk to you about the market analysis.
Market analysis, yes.
Okay. Okay, we're not getting sure. Okay. Maybe we can just present with it without presentation mode. Like, it doesn't have to be in presentation mode. Oh, okay. We can just stand here.
The slides go.
Yeah.
Right, Arpa?
Huh?
The slides go.
Yeah.
It's all their fault. But yeah, here's the TAM for both the market, health information exchange, and medical retrievals market. The HIE market is currently valued at $2.3 billion. It's growing at 9.6% CAGR, expected to reach over $5 billion in 2033. The medical retrievals market is valued at 1.1 to 1.2 billion in 2024 and 2025, and is also growing at 10.1% CAGR, and they are expected to grow to 2.5 billion by 2033. Here is the medical records retrieval market share. Insurers make up the largest segment. They need this for claims and verification, and then law firms are the second largest, using this for medical cases specifically, and your third and fourth segments being life science companies like pharmaceutical companies, and then they use it for trials and research, and then you have other like government agencies, employers, and individual patients. And then here's the health information exchange market share. Healthcare providers obviously make up the largest segment of it. They aim to enhance patient care and improve operations. Healthcare payers being second biggest. They do this for claims processing and fraud detection as well. And same theme again, kind of pharmacies, governments, and individuals and employers for other.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about a key advantage on our app. So on average, it takes 15 to 30 days to transfer your medical records to different institutions. That's almost a month. Our app makes it so the transfers are actually 3 to 5 seconds. That's 99.99% more efficient. And also, it just completely gets rid of the middleman. So when you have to transfer your medical records in general, you have to contact your doctor's office, and then that doctor's office has to contact the institution that we're going to transfer to. And now you get complete control of who and when you're going to transfer to. And this just kind of is really convenient for emergencies and really convenient when you're having to move. Okay, I'm also going to be talking about why blockchain is the only viable foundation for MetaWallet. So first is the true patient ownership. So in today's healthcare systems, medical records are stored inside of hospitals or clinic databases. That means the provider, not the patient, actually owns the medical records. Blockchain completely flips that model. The patient is going to actually hold their own private key, and the key is the only way that their medical information can be accessed. Not the hospital, not a cloud vendor, only the patient. Second is the fraud prevention through our immutable records. So medical fraud is actually a massive issue. Fake prescriptions, retroactive tampering, altered diagnostics. A real powerful real-world example of this is the Gypsy Rose case, where her mother fabricated diagnoses, manipulated files, and then repeatedly misled doctors into performing unnecessary treatments, all because traditional medical records could be altered, falsified, and trusted without verification. On blockchain, once a doctor adds a medical entry, it can't be edited, deleted, or forged. Every update is timestamped, and with MetaWallet, something like the Gypsy Rose case could have very easily been prevented. The last reason why blockchain is honestly the only way we could implement MetaWallet is because it's all in one unified record across all providers. So right now, every hospital uses its own EMR system. Your data is fragmented across clinics, specialists, and networks. Doctors often only have part of your history, which leads to repeated tests, misdiagnoses, and huge inefficiencies. Blockchain fixes that by creating one continuous unified record that follows the patient everywhere. Any provider on any system can view the correct history only if the patient permits it. And then together, these features make blockchain the only technology capable of delivering secure, fraud-proof, truly patient-controlled medical records through MetaWallet.
So some consumer disadvantages of the system now is that there's base fees. An article from NOSCR said on average per state basis, patients pay $20, $30 in base fees, plus an additional 50 to 96 cents per page to transfer. We can dive more into the impact later, and I'll explain the numbers, but on average, a study by Sunnybrook Health determined that each individual person, like everybody in this room, has a lot more medical records than you think. It's 130.4 pages per person. And obviously, with that many pages, it becomes very expensive very quickly. Also, another problem with the system now is it's very inefficient. It takes roughly 15 to 30 days to transfer your medical records, and especially with people that are in chronic illness, that's a huge problem. And on top of that, there's also data breaches. Specifically in 2024, there were 700 examples of this and exposed 180 plus million patient records within the US. So, in Missouri,
Okay. I don't know what just happened. Oh my god. Is that a peaceful thing yourself?
Everything is fucking up.
Thank you, everyone. And that's it for today, guys. No, I'm kidding.
We got hacked, bro. What'd you do again?
What?
Yeah, just use the app on your phone.
Can you cut this part out of the recording?
It's cursed.
yes.
Okay.
We're back.
Yes, Eric.
Okay, so an example we want to show you in Missouri, they have 3 fees: search and retrieval fee, per page transfer, and then a postage notary fee. For a 130-page transfer, it came out to $114.50. So imagine you are that chronically ill patient and you're having to transfer, 3 times a month. It adds up quick. And with our system charging 5 cents, max 5 cents per page, it came out to like $6.50 to transfer. That's cutting costs up to like 90%. It's crazy. So, next one. Viability, feasibility, and desirability of our product. It's viable because we're saving consumers and providers so much time and money with our more efficient technology. We are also, the market's very large and growing. As we said before, it's growing consistently with the CAGR, 10%, 9% on the other one. So there's obviously a lot of room to stick in there. There's big spenders at the table, like insurers and healthcare providers, like we said, and we'd solve data breaches. However, since blockchain's not as regulated, or as blockchain becomes regulated, it's kind of hard for people to adopt the new system, especially like implementing it in hospitals where systems are already kind of set in stone. Feasibility. XRPL makes the whole process very easy, and very grateful to have it. We can save everybody millions of dollars with their system, and especially the time too. Cut costs up to 90%, like we said earlier. The only problem is it would be expensive to implement initially because they would have to drop the old systems and train their employees on how to use this new system. The desirability of the product, patients obviously want control over their records and they need them fast, like we've been saying, Gypsy Rose, chronic illness, like these people need these like now. Our system reduces administrative burden, especially for providers and insurers. It's a huge headache right now. It's waiting 15 and 30 days to get your medical records and make the claims and get the help you need. But as blockchain becomes more regulated, people will gain a deeper understanding of the product and drop the good enough mindset that they have with the system now. So.
Thank you.
it's all gone. We're not getting any energy. It's so hard to get energy at an affordable, consistent rate. It just keeps going back, and we can't ever have it. Wouldn't it be easy if we could all just buy energy, nice and simple? We could just buy it for an easy, affordable price without having to go through any third parties? Well, I have good news for you. Here, we're going to present the Decentralized Energy Exchange, or the DEX, which a lot of you have already heard of as a decentralized exchange. And so my name is Rishabh Anand.
My name is Nick.
My name is Alan. I'm Kenny.
And my name is Aditya.
And what I'm going to do first I'm going to discuss a little bit what we're going to talk about today. So first, why do we make the DEX? What's the purpose of the product? And why is it necessary and useful? Then Nick will be discussing a little bit about what we had to do and learn about beforehand, so that way we could determine why it's necessary right now in this market, especially with the renewable energy market on the rise. Then we'll be moving it on to the computer science students, who will discuss how it exactly made the DEX. Then I will be giving a full overview about what we talked about today. So first, why did we make the DEX? Why is it necessary and useful? And how is it especially useful right now? So say you have a solar panel. You are going to want to sell, or you want to use that energy that you have. So say that solar panel builds you some energy over the summer, but then it doesn't build you anything over winter or anything during the fall. That's because it's very seasonal, it doesn't always stay there. And energy is when it comes to renewable energies, is always like this. Especially in Kansas, where wind energy is the main source of this energy, it's very hard for anybody to keep that energy for long periods of time because it continuously comes and goes. And so you can't keep that energy for yourself all the time. And in some cases, it's just an excess of energy that you could sell, but it would cost you more due to the extra fees and whatnot that it has to go through. Instead, what the DEX allows you to do is sell your specific energy to another individual who might really need it, like we demonstrated before.
Alright, I'll be talking about, let's talk about the clean energy market here in the United States. So over here in the US, we saw nearly 80 billion in investments and support 1.4 million jobs in 2024 in the clean energy market. To put that into perspective, that's more annual investments than the entire US auto industry typically makes in factories and equipment each year. Now let's dive in and talk about the clean energy market, specifically in Kansas. So wind power is the leading renewable energy source in Kansas, providing over 51.9% of the state's electricity in 2024. Kansas is also among the top 4 states of operating wind farms, with over 6,100 megawatts of wind farms currently in operation. That is enough electricity power for 4.5 to 6 million homes. And that also generates the same amount of energy as about 6 large nuclear reactors, as each nuclear reactor generates about 1,000 megawatts. So let's talk about clean energy market and blockchain. Why are we using blockchain? Blockchain helps break up the monopoly large energy companies have traditionally held by decentralizing how power is produced and shared. Instead of relying on a few big utilities, people can trade electricity directly with each other, like selling an extra solar power to your neighbor. Because every transaction is recorded transparently on the blockchain, it is much harder for anyone to manipulate the system or overcharge. Overall, it gives everyday consumers more control over their energy use and cost, shifting power literally and figuratively away from centralized utilities towards the community.
Thank you, Nick. I shall explain the computational side of the DEX. So the DEX marketplace is built on the XRP ledger. The ledger essentially acts as a bridge to facilitate transactions between 2 different currencies. And in this case, it is between the energy credits that we form and the US dollar. The ledger creates tokens in the form of NFTs, which are to be traded to and from users to facilitate these transactions. Due to their on-demand liquidity, this is a very efficient and trustworthy form of buying and selling, and allows users to transition to various currencies, not only the US dollar, but also to other currencies around the world.
Hi, so I'll be talking a little bit about how this all works. So in the real world, this would be hooked up to something like a net meter that would actually measure how much energy is getting stored and produced by something like your own house. From here,
For at least for demo purposes, our program is using just a button to simulate this because obviously we're not going to hook up to that. So when a user goes to press this button to actually mint these energy tokens, it's also minting an MPT-based NFT, which contains metadata like what type of power source it is, so whether or not it's like wind or solar, its location, and its date. From here, the user then has the option to create a sell offer, which basically lists our NFT onto our own marketplace. From here, another user could also then buy our NFT, which then prompts our program to create a smart transfer, which transfers the certificate from the first user to the new user.
Now, just to wrap up what we just talked about. First, what we did is we identified the issue that currently exists with monopolies and certain ways that people have already centralized the way that energy is produced, distributed, and bought. Now, what we're trying to do is decentralize that so that people have their own right to their own energy, and they can also sell that energy to their neighbor for a profit and make it easier on that neighbor financially. In addition to that, we then explained how that fits within the current energy market as it's on a rise, and it will produce a lot more energy for a lot of the neighborhoods we live in. Then we discussed how we developed that using XRPL, putting that energy into NFT tokens and then selling that on our marketplace. So now what we're going to be doing is giving a visual demonstration about what our website looks like.
I have it on my laptop.
It was a slide that had a video. Okay.
If you guys want to see any visual demos of this, it will be on the dev post link, which will be shared after for sure. But for the sake of time, we're not going to be doing this.
It's a good marketplace, guys.
Alright, last but definitely not the least, we have B-Trade. Hopefully nothing messes up for your days. Let's see how it goes.
Hi, my name's Hayden.
I'm Saram.
I'm Zayma.
I'm Shiva.
And we make B-Trade. Alright, so what is B-Trade? B-Trade is a decentralized basketball card NFT marketplace, and it basically just functions as regular trading cards do, but the difference is that it's on chain and you can still do the same functions as opening packs, buying, trading, and selling them, but it also has the additional functionality of being an NFT.
And so we couldn't do a live demo, so we did screenshots. So as you can see, the first top left is our page. And so basically it just tells you what our product is. And so how you would use our product initially is the top right and the top left picture, there is a mint NFT button, or not, sorry, a connect your wallet button. And so we use Meta Wallet as our wallet to connect. We didn't use XRPL. We'll get into that later, but you connect your wallet to it, and what that does is now that gives you funds to open our wallets. And so as you can see right here, you get a daily pack that you get to open, as that's how our product works. And so when you do something like this, you open that, and in the top right is what happens when you open a pack. You have different rarity cards, as exemplified by the colors of the cards. And so what makes our product unique is that our cards are based on real life stats. And so each time you open a pack, you're not going to get the same cards ever. It'll all be different stats. It could be the same player, but different stats. And so we'll get later into that as we go. But you would click a card that you get from the pack. Say you wanted to pick LeBron James card or Damian Lillard card. You would click on it and click mint NFT. And based on how much tokens or how much money you have in your wallet, you'd be able to mint it. And once you mint it, it goes straight into your My Collections. And so that's yours. So once you mint it, that card belongs to you. No one can have it. You have a unique card. And then so we wanted to also say what happens when you don't have enough tokens. And so in the top right, you can see it's a brand new wallet. So something else that makes our thing a little bit different is the different wallet compatibility. So here, this was a different user. And on the right corner, that is also a different user. And And so as you can see, you get different cards as well as different players. And so what happens when you don't have enough funds is you obviously don't get the cards, or you have to stay with what you Yeah, and so when you don't have enough funds, you're always not gonna get the cards, so you have to settle with what you get. And we have 60 Canada. And so this is just to show that this is a different collection for a different user. And so what makes our product unique, that we like to think, is we have a marketplace. And so what makes it so unique is everything you see here is what every user is going to see on the right. You're going to see a whole bunch of cards that other players have listed that you can buy, sell, list, or even put your own card with it. And so how this works is, say you want a Trey Young card or a Nikola Jokic card. You would basically click on that card and you would see the price that the person has listed it for. If you feel that price is fair enough, then you would buy it. If it's not, you would, I don't know, like, put a price that you think is fair, and the user that listed that card will get a notification saying this person has made an offer and they can accept or decline it. And say you wanted to list your own card, how does it work? You would pick the card that you wanted to list, which the address is on the card itself. You copy the address, put it in the NFT address section, and the token ID is basically just a card that's in your My Collection. So say you want to list a LeBron James card, and he's the 5th card in your collection, and you token X5, and you would put the price of the card that you want, and it would go into the marketplace, and everyone else that's using this app can see this card.
Okay, so he hit on it slightly earlier, but originally we were planning on using the XRP ledger, make it XRPL based for our project, and that's because it has a built-in decentralized exchange, so that would have been perfect for us and trading our NFT cards, perfect platform. They also have their own testnet, so it would have made developing and testing a lot easier. And it also supports native NFTs like the XLS20, which is what we were wanting to use. And it also wouldn't require a smart contract as well, which is what we ended up pivoting to. But unfortunately, we kept running into issues with our wallet integration and just like overall like compatibility with our broader tech stack. So we'll get into how we pivoted.
And so, as you said, we just thought Ethereum was the best for us, so we forfeited the XRPL ledger type bounty. And so this was really just because we thought the documentation was clear, the libraries that we could use with Ethereum was just so much easier for us. And additionally, we use MetaMask also because there's 30 million users. So instead of going to them, we're just meeting them where we can. So we have more people able to use our app that way. Additionally, Ethers, the JavaScript library, was also very beneficial for us. It's already proven, it integrates seamlessly with our backend and React, and also allows us to use features we probably couldn't have used if we use something else. And additionally, testing was also a lot easier. That's just the test nets were just iterated fast, free, and be easy to reiterate and catch bugs, as well as keep progressing rather than just being stuck in the bugs forever. And so additionally, at the end of the day, it was simpler, the development was faster, as well as we were able to focus on what actually mattered rather than using something that we could probably.
Okay, so our tech stack, because we ended up writing a smart contract, we obviously wrote that and deployed it on Solidity. And our smart contract is basically what handles the card minting, and we ended up deploying it on the Sequoia testnet. Again, Ethers.js connects the contract to our MetaMask wallet, which is then integrated into our web page. But essentially, our B-Trade is like a React-based web application because React gives us a very component-driven UI. It renders fast and also allows us to very cleanly manage our dynamic features, which you can see because we couldn't do a demo, but like our pack opening and card galleries and stuff, and also our real-time marketplace updates. For styling, we used Tailwind CSS just so that we could have like a clean and responsive pack opening animations and user dashboards. And then
our React scripts and hooks handles our backend bundling and development, as well as all of our marketplace data, wallet states, and pack opening logic, just so we can keep our web page performance very consistent throughout.
All right, moving on to the finance side. One of the benefits of our platform is secure trading and holding, as you know, because it's built using NFTs and on the blockchain. It's more secure, and you have ability to hold it and have access to it at all times compared to normal cards where you're gonna have to store it in a box, secure. You're not gonna have access at all times, so it might be, more vulnerable to be stolen and whatnot. Another thing about our platform is it's more accessible compared to other cards. As trading cards, you have to spend tens of hundreds of dollars, buy packs, open them. With ours, minting one is only cost a few cents. It makes the barrier entry to get into trading cards a lot easier. Another thing about our platform is the unique stats of cards. Like we said, each card has different values. So if Alex here has a LeBron James and Nick here has LeBron James, they will not be the same card. They'll have very unique stats. Why play B-Trade? Transferring cards is much cheaper than it would be to normal cards. Instead of having to search on eBay, pay $10 shipping, wait a week to get this card, you only have to pay a small margin of what the card costs to get the card instantly. Another thing about the platform is the cheap player picks. Having to spend only a few cents each day gets players to come back every time, open packs, and you can grow your collection very quickly, very fast, which is very fun. And hopefully in the future, we're hoping to add a game aspect to put those stats to use and add more functionality to your cards. How does B-Trade make money? We make money through transaction fees and minting fees. So every time you mint a card, we get a kickback. Every time there's a transaction, so let's say someone lists a card for $1, we would get 5% of that, so we would get 5 cents. And as markets expand, we're hoping to be able to, our platform should be able to expand the amount of revenue it gets. As it stands, the global trading card market is at $11.5 billion and is expanding to double that by 2034. And right now, we're hoping to reach the numbers similar to NBA 2K, where they have around 10,000 concurrent players. We're hoping to reach that so we can have thousands of trades and new mints every day. Hopefully, B-Trade should make basketball trading cards and hopefully trading cards in the future more accessible to everyone and breathe life back into trading cards. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry that there's no more technical issues. We're almost at the end. Okay. I'm really afraid if I click this, something might happen. Okay. Prize time. Before we get into prizes, I just want to congratulate everyone for completing these projects. I know that with the time that you've had, it was definitely short, and you definitely had a lot of other responsibilities and school and academics and stuff to do, but I'm so thankful that you guys actually pulled through and made such great and amazing projects. Everyone should be proud of themselves. Can we get a round of applause, please? A little bit info on judging. We had around 6 judges. It included me, Caleb Height, Alex Perez, Stan, and Alex on that call. Hopefully they still see us in that call. And then Emma Nasseri over there as well for the XRPL bounty. So all of that judging was based off of your creativity, your blockchain integration, your presentation, your execution, and that dev post. So nothing you did right now, like we mentioned, is being graded on. All of this was decided prior to before. So I'm not gonna click now because I'm really afraid that it's gonna mess me up again. So let's get a little drum roll. The first prize is gonna be best overall, and that goes to Eden. Come on. You guys had a great dev post presentation as well as their project. Their dev post or their actual website is super cool. They have this 3D tree and everything. Wait, I want to look like I'm giving.
That's good.
about that. That's not it. Of course, be proud of yourself. Another hand. Okay. Next is going to be best business analysis. Start the drum roll now because I can't. Great business analysis. They used an actual market share for their real world assets. And that was super cool too. Where's the rest of your group?
The human spirit. That's it.
Good. Be proud. And last but not least, the best use case for the XRP bounty is.
Should I do the other one?
I don't think you need another photo, but you can.
Just for the. You can hold both of them up.
Hold both trophies.
You can hold both of them up, look. Dubs. There.
That's good.
Anyway.
That's good though.
Thank you guys so much for coming. I hope you guys had a great semester so far with KU Blockchain. Hope to see you all next semester again, and be proud of what you've done because this is genuinely really amazing and great and awesome, and all the other adjectives and verbs and pronouns and all of that. So thank you guys.